We continue reading through the Saxon poets of Vīta Carolī Liber, starting on the page Hanc igitur Carolus. So I'll read it and then we'll discuss. Hanc igitur Carolus statuit sibi sub deragentum, nec mora cum totis francorum viribus ipsam, agressus late ferro vastavit digni, castellum naturali muni mine forte, val de manu quoque firmatum quod barbara lingua nomina Eresburg, valido cum robere cepit. Gens iadem coluit simulacrum, quod vocitabant irmunsul, cuius similis factura columnae. Non operis parvi fuerat pariter coedecoris, hoc rex e vertins mansit tribus ipse diebus, in castris juxta positis, tum continuato aestatis fervore diu, caeloque sereno, ardebant agri, nec in ipsis fontibus humor, ullus erat, multos qua lebant pulvere rivi. So there's the page. Let's go through this. So recall the previous two pages are talking about the Saxons were given a description of the people, namely that they're divided into three sections, the Westphalians, the Angarii, and the Eastphalians, or the Ostvados. We're also told that the Franks have God on their side, they've conquered many peoples. The Saxons, on the other hand, aren't united under one king. And before that, a couple pages before that, we've been given the cause of war, which is that the Saxons frequently cross over the border and kill and plunder and destroy and light things on fire. So Charlemagne decides to do something about that. So therefore, Carolus decided to subdue to himself this people, Hanc Gintim, which refers to the Saxons. Nec mora, so without delay, with all the men of the Franks, he attacked. So Agressus. We've got a little footnote here. Agressus, it's definite, so it's he attacked, and that's clear from the rest of it. Also, it's definite, so we know that's he attacked, and est is omitted for magical reasons. So he attacked, destroying or laying waste widely with sword and with fire. The next sentence is a fun one. Castellum naturale munimit forte valde. So a castle or a fort greatly fortified, with strong fortifications. We've got ablative there, and it's natural fortifications. Manu quoque formatum, and with a strong hand, quod barbara lingua nominat Eresburg, which the barbarian tongue names Eresburg. And it's got to be the barbarian tongue names it Eresburg, so that would be in the accusative. We know this has to be in the nominative here, barbara lingua, because barbara lingua wouldn't fit the meter. So it has to be barbara lingua. Also, for scansion, it sure seems that E on valde is short. So, because otherwise you get valde, well, that's two long syllables. And then ma, that has to be long to fit the meter. But it's not. So that's why I think a little poetic license on the part of the Saxon poet, that should be short. Val de manu, quoque firmatum, quod barbara lingua. So you've got this castle, it's strongly fortified, it's named Eresburg. Valido cum robere cepit. He took with a strong hand. Now, I've got a little note here. You could interpret this a different way. You could say that valido cum robere means with a strong stronghold or with strong oaken works, because robere comes from an analogy that it's like strong like oak. So you could say, well, it's literally oak, meaning Eresburg has, oaken fortifications, which would be perhaps part of the natural fortifications that it has. They built up a wall using nearby oak trees. Or you could say, no, robere means with a strong hand, referring to Manu earlier in the sentence. I think either probably work out. They don't really affect the overall meaning. Now we're told a little bit about the Saxon people. Ginsjadam, the same people, coluit simulacrum. So a simulacrum, we've got the English word a simulacra, thing that's similar to. In this case, it means an idol. So instead of, worshiping a god directly, they have a simulacra or an image of the god. Quod vocitabant urmensil, which they call the irmensil. Quius simulus factura columnae, which is manufactured similarly to a column. And here we've got the singular feminine genitive, so that columnae would really be columnae in the way that we'd probably spell it. I've got that called it out in the vocab. So it's made similar to a column. Non operes parvis weret, so it wasn't of little work, and it was likewise decoris, so beautiful or decorated. So what is the irmensil? Well, here we're told it's a column. It's not small, and it's beautiful or it's well decorated. So perhaps it's a column with an image on top, and like the column's decorated, and so on and so forth. Perhaps it's just a column and they worship the column like it's some sort of obelisk type of thing. The phrase irmensil doesn't actually appear in too many parts of literature. So the book you're reading right now is actually one of the main sources that we get for this concept. Hoc rex evertens, so the king overturning this, meaning the irmensil, so that's singular neuter accusative. He remained, meaning the king remained himself. He himself remained 3 days in the camp next to the position, or having been positioned next to it, meaning next to Eresburg or next to the Irmensil. Tum continuatur aestatis fervere diu. Then, with the long continued fervor of summer, and with a serene sky, caeloque sereno, the fields were burning. So here, agri has to be plural neuter accusative. You might say, well, could it be the genitive? Well, that doesn't really fit. They were burning of the field. I think it makes more sense that the fields were burning. Perhaps this is a literal burning. But I think it probably means that the fields were drying out. So like the crops were getting heat burn. Because we're told this, nec in ipsis fontibus humor ullas erat, nor was there any water in their fountains or in their headwaters or in their springs or their wells. So the idea is like the summer heat is lasting long. It's a serene sky. There's no water around. Multo squalebant pulvere rivi. So you've got squalebant. They were dry with dust. So like there is no water in the fountains or whatever. They were dry with the dust of the river. Or rather, we've got rivi. I guess that's plural nominative. So the small streams were dry with much dust. So this whole idea is that it's summer and there's a drought going on. And that's why it makes me think the fields were burning is referring to the crops just getting very dry from the heat and the lack of water rather than the fields actually burning. Although, you could argue, we're explicitly told up here that he's burning, he's destroying things far and wide with sword and fire. So perhaps the fields are being burned with fire. Anyhow, that's that page. So Charlemagne has attacked Eradisburg, which will come up several times throughout this work. It's one of their main strongholds. And he's also torn down their idol along the way. So join us next video to continue on in the narrative.